In this week's Sunspot, Lowell Sun Enterprise editor Chris Scott chats with Sal Lupoli about economic development in Lowell and Sal's Thorndike Exchange project.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Scott, the Enterprise Editor at The Sun. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Sunspot. With me is a guy I've come to know. I kind of call him the Pizza King on the side, but his name is Sal Lupoli. Sal, thanks for coming in today.
Chris, thanks for having me.
He's in today to talk about his new development, now under construction on Thorndike Street, called the Thorndike Exchange, and he also has a couple of an important announcement to make as well relating to that development. So, Sal, I'll give you the floor. Tell us where Thorndike Exchange stands, kind of where it fits. You know, how far along are you, and then we can get into some of those other issues.
Well, Chris, we're right on schedule. We're very excited about phase one of Thorndike Exchange, which is 61 market rate apartments, some of the beautiful apartments you've ever seen. These are loft-style apartments. Mm-hmm. Also, we're going to have 2 restaurants, a wine bar, and a small cafe with about 30,000 square feet of what I call job creation. Chris, that's going to be phase one. Mm-hmm. Phase two is on the board right now, getting drawn up. We're working with the financing end of it right now. Mm-hmm. That's going to be almost 100 market rate apartments. So we're going to turn that L at Thorndike Exchange, and we're going to turn it into a U with a brand new, sexy, very futuristic building to complement what Lowell's known for, which is this beautiful brick and post.
So let me ask you a question. I know you're permitted for the 61 market rate, correct, from the city of Lowell. Have you presented phase two to the city yet?
I did, Chris. In the very beginning, I presented the entire package because I wanted to get permitted or approved all in one session, which I'm lucky enough to be in the city of Lowell, that they understand economic development, and the city manager, along with the planning board, approved the entire project, and now we're in phase one of that.
We're still talking about a $50 million project through both phases?
That's absolutely correct, and we're right on schedule, and we're thrilled with the way that the apartments are starting to come together in the entire project.
When will phase one be done?
We're looking at the late fall, maybe September for phase one, and so far so good.
What about phase two?
Phase two, we'd really like to start that project before phase one opens. We'd like to get the steel in the ground, but we're still reviewing the entire project and seeing what's best. But we're shooting for breaking ground prior to the opening of phase one.
Does phase two kind of depend on how phase one sells? Do you have to see what the demand is like before you really get into phase two?
You know, Chris, that's a great question. In the very beginning, that was my position, that was my business strategy. But I have to tell you, the phone has not stopped ringing of people wanting to move into phase one. Out of the 61 apartments that we have, we probably have 40% of them are pre-leased already, Chris. So we have so much activity already because this product is a very, very different product. As you know, we're having a bridge connected to the transportation center. We're going to have the restaurants deliver to the apartment rooms, so it's almost like a room service program. We're going to have valet service with the garage right behind us. You know, it's going to be really a great opportunity for a millennial moving into the city of Lowell that want to make their home eventually here.
If I was interested in moving from my home in Merrimack, Mass, I have a little cookie cutter house, and if I wanted to live at Thorndike Exchange, what would I pay for rent?
Well,
or is there a range?
There's a range, Chris, and I'll tell you why. Because we have studios, we have 1 bedrooms, we have 1 bedrooms with dens, we have 2 bedrooms. Chris, we have 3-bedroom apartments because that's kind of a demand we're seeing out in the market. So with that, you're going to range anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400 a month, all the way, Chris, to high-end 3 bedrooms. Chris, they're going to be tipping in the mid-2000s. And you know what, Chris? Based on that concierge service that we have, based on the amenities that we're creating, we're seeing people, we have a great waiting list, and there's a great demand for what the product we're going to create.
Now, we were talking a little bit off camera before we started today. The development has been very popular, I guess, for a group of people that kind of fell down on their luck due to the Perkins Place development with what happened with UMass Lowell there. So bring us up to speed on that. How many folks have kind of moving laterally from that side of the community to Thorndike Exchange?
Well, I got to tell you the truth. We've had the pleasure of meeting with President Maloney on this. We've had the pleasure of meeting with Chancellor Meehan on this. And they both have been so cooperative and so understanding of the residents, and they've really helped facilitate. there really should be something said about not only the university, but what's happening with the city manager. You know, City Manager Murphy has gone out of his way to support us on this. We've had quite a bit of people from Perkins already pre-lease in this program.
So how many families or folks have come over from Perkins?
Right now we have 10 signed leases just from Perkins, and probably that many that are kicking the tires, going through the space, and that's really ties into the experience center that they're coming down and taking a look at.
Okay, so let's get into the Experience Center and get into your announcement today. So tell us about this now. You want to create something downtown for people to come in and look at the units, or maybe see some kind of visual tour of the units, and then a public meeting room?
Absolutely, you just nailed it right there. We want to create an experience center. I've been doing this for 28 years, developing real estate, along with my hospitality business, and we just want to do things a little bit better than anyone else. So one of the ideas we came up with the Thorndike Experience Center, right over here on 17 Shattuck Street. And what you do, Chris, is you go down there and you're going to be able to experience just what that apartment's all about. We're going to have people there to talk to you about the amenities, programming, what can we do to support you, but it's also going to act as a community center. We're going to have parties in there, we're going to have events in there, we're going to offer this space, which is beautifully decorated as if you were to walk in one of the apartments or you were to just be sitting in the living room.
So this isn't just a marketing gimmick.
That's absolutely correct.
This is a room or a group of rooms that will stay in business for say a nonprofit that needs a community room for a meeting. They can call someone on your staff and then rent that. Is there a rental fee, or is it something they can just
This
use?
is something that we want to put out to the community, that we want to marry the two projects together. We do that, Chris, when we come into a community. We want to become part of the fabric of that community. And I've always said, when you invest in real estate, you're going to become part of that community. So this is another program that we're putting. We'd love to eventually move this experience center to the penthouse, which is on the new building of Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Imagine an 8-story building, all glass, that you're in this community room, that you're overlooking the city of Lowell, and then you'll be able to have your events up there, or really be able to have a presence.
The community center isn't a novel idea here in the city. There are some of the banks have community centers. Enterprise Bank has one. I think Lowell 5 might have something as well. So there's definitely that demand. This will be at 17 Shattuck Street.
That's correct.
Now you have an opening date on that too, right?
As a matter of fact, we do. We're opening this weekend, and we're excited about it. So you'll probably see an announcement, hopefully in the newspapers, not too shortly, about exactly what we're doing, time, the event.
Yeah, be sure to let us know about that.
Thank you very much.
Right.
We will, Chris.
Good. I had another real estate developer in that seat a couple weeks ago. Actually, he's a prospective real estate developer, and that's Teddy Panos, the owner of the Athenian Corner across the street, who basically announced plans to do over his restaurant and complement it with some lodging on the upper floors. He was very bullish about downtown Lowell. Despite what you read now and then about restaurants coming, restaurants going, not enough disposable income in downtown Lowell, a lot of residents in downtown Lowell right now are low to moderate income, and they don't have that disposable income. Do you share that same enthusiasm about downtown Lowell? I guess you do, otherwise you really wouldn't be here. But
absolutely correct, and I do share that. I'm excited about the potential future projects that Lupoli Companies will be doing in downtown Lowell. I'm excited about, on the outskirts of Lowell, some of the projects we're going to be doing. The Athenian Corner, Teddy, he's a visionary, because he's absolutely right. He's right to invest in downtown Lowell. He owns a piece of real estate. He's going to not only create a destination with his restaurant, but he's also going to create an opportunity for people to live down and have a boutique style hotel down there. So I actually look at it, I think it's a brilliant idea. I'm very encouraged when I hear entrepreneurs like that making an investment with their own money in downtown Lowell. That's what will keep downtowns across America, certainly across the state, continue to thrive, when you have local entrepreneurs investing back into their real estate.
you're a Chelmsford native. You still live in Chelmsford. You serve on the Chelmsford School Committee. Are you still a football coach for the Chelmsford High School football team? You remember Lowell for many years ago, when it wasn't anything like it is today. When you hear people say, Lowell, I'm not, there's something sketchy about Lowell, how do you react to that?
Well,
Because it's still out there. I'm sure you hear it. I hear it as well.
I invest in gateway cities because I believe in gateway cities. My largest investments are in the 3 of the biggest gateway cities north of Boston.
Lowell, Lawrence, and Haverhill.
So when people say those kinds of words about our gateway cities, it's because they've never been to our gateway cities. They've never shopped in our stores. They've never met the people. These are hard-working individuals, much like you and I, Chris, that came up through the system, that we believe in our communities, we believe in our gateway cities, and we believe in local support from within. You know, I want to bring businesses from outside of our community, but I also believe in the fabric of our community. And the way we're going to get out of some of these tougher times is all pulling together, believe in each other, work with each other, shop with each other, create commerce with each other. So
I'm going to interrupt just for a second. We only have about a minute left. When you think of Lowell, and you know, you could apply this to Lawrence and Haverhill as well. What are the biggest advantages of these 3 cities that share a lot in common?
Well, from a development perspective,
yeah.
I will tell you, city manager, Mr. Murphy, is very exciting to do business with. He gets it. He helps businesses get open. So from a permitting process, time value of money, he wants to help your businesses get open. I also love the architecture of Lowell. I actually enjoy our location, the location that we have, the accessibility off of the Lowell connector. I think that's an asset for us. I like what's happening in Lowell with the Songus Arena. You're going to see some terrific plans coming along the lines with the Lowell Spinners Stadium. So I like what the university's doing. There's a lot of people coming together. You don't find that in a lot of places.
Sounds good. Sal, I've got to wrap it up. I appreciate you coming in today to talk to us.
Chris,
let us know about the opening of the Experience Center.
Thank you very much.
Again, thank you for tuning in to this edition of Sunspot. Check the LTC website for other times that it will be rerun on channels and times. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
That's it for this edition of LTC News.